Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Happy Friday, guys, and welcome back to Wager Talk TV. You're watching Puck Time. I am Andrew McInnis, and the boys are back. I have Carmine Bianco joining me here. He had a couple days off. He's in Vegas having a good time. We're back to work. We've got some hockey games to go over. 4 games today, 10-game slate yesterday in the NHL on Thursdays, and a smaller slate today. You know how they roll in the NHL. One day it's a big day. The other day they kind of slow it down. But some good games to break down with the Lightning, the Blue Jackets, the Canadiens, Red Wings. We have the Rangers visiting the Winnipeg Jets, and the later game with the Hurricanes in San Jose to take on the Sharks. Before I throw it over to Carmine, just want to remind you guys once again about that deal we have going on. $7 a day, $49 for 1 week of NHL plays. No promo code needed for that. $7 a day. It works out to $49 for 1 week. And it looks like to me a lot of guys are off to great starts in the NHL. And hey, it's been a pretty good season so far. Lots of great games to watch as well from a fan perspective. But I want to bring in Carm. Carm, how's everything going, man? I feel really sorry for you about that huge Leafs future you put in. I'm happy you swallowed it up and ripped it all up. But it's good to see you, Carm. How's it going, man?
Yeah, we're just having some fun down here, and I thought it just came into my head last minute. Let's have some fun up. I'm gonna have to move into the witness protection program if the Leafs actually do make it out of the first round and end up going all the way and winning a cup, because all of my friends will be looking for me to troll me. But it's all good. It's all fun. It's all stuff that goes back to our high school years and just egging them on. But Vegas, it's been a great time thus far. We spent, Rob and I spent pretty much the day and evening at Circa Sports. You cannot, if you've never been to Vegas or if you're coming to Vegas, you've got to get to Circa. Absolutely phenomenal. Every NHL game, Andrew, was up on the screen, which kind of helped, because if you're watching that football game, I feel sorry for you. That was pretty much another miserable Thursday night football game, but it's fun. It's a decent start to the NHL, 3-1, low volume to start. I want to see, and we talked about this before the season started. I'm going to take a wait and see approach with quite a few teams. With all the changes that happened during the offseason. But some really good games last night in NHL. That Calgary Colorado game was a very good one. So I'm looking forward to more NHL tonight, 4 more games, and then just some huge slates across the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So that deal that you did mention, the 7 days for $49, is a great deal. So take advantage of it, guys, if you can.
You mentioned that the Calgary Colorado game. What a game that was, and a lot of people liked it as a flat spot maybe for Colorado after a big win at home after the banner. And I know Brian liked it from the show yesterday, Carm. I know Dave liked Calgary. I just stuck with the over. You gave me 2 teams at plus 100 over 6.5 that have lots of talent, offensive firepower, and those overs are fun to watch. When you've got 2 teams like that just have so many great goal scorers, it's just, even if it's like, starts off low scoring, it's only a matter of time before those goals start to pile in. But, today's slate isn't too bad. There's only 4 games, but they're all 4 different types of games. Let's jump into it. We have Tampa Bay and the Columbus Blue Jackets here. Look, first of all, Tampa off that loss on opening night to the New York Rangers, which is kind of a tough one for them. Running into a goaltender in Igor Shesterkin, which we all know who is just absolutely outstanding off of Vezina Trophy last season. They're minus 190 on the road here. We have Columbus plus 160. And, Carm, I just want to ask you about Columbus. A lot of people thought that maybe they, were going to take a big leap this year, or picking up Johnny Gaudreau would be big for them. But First of all, I wasn't really buying into the hype, but now Patrick Laine goes out with an injury in game one. I mean, you feel sorry for the guy. He just always seems to be injured. But, a pissed off Tampa Bay team looking for a bounce back situation. You look at the expected goals. They actually played pretty well. A lot of the goals that we saw New York score on Vasilevsky were very nice goals. I don't think they really scored any garbage goals against Tampa. The minus 115 price is what I saw for the regulation for Tampa. That's kind of where I'd look, potentially on the under as well, as we saw both teams, I believe, be involved in high-scoring games. Columbus be involved in high-scoring games, and under for Tampa. But I'm not buying into Columbus. I think minus 115 for Tampa is really the best way to go.
Yeah, pretty much agree with you on that point as far as regulation, because I just don't want to lay that big number. But when I saw that news come in, a line in, I think he's out, 3 to 4 weeks, I believe. And, we saw injuries at the beginning of last season as well, too. The difference with those teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins, is the amount of depth that team had. And it was kind of the next man up attitude on that team. Not to disparage the Columbus Blue Jackets, but they don't have that same amount of depth on the team. And when you look at obviously Tampa coming off that loss to the Rangers, how good the Rangers are was just reaffirmed in their next game. We saw what they did to Minnesota last night. So they're a very good team, and that's who Tampa lost to in a bit of a revenge spot. You got to figure they're going to get into the win column here. I think the only way to play it is to take Tampa, and if you don't mind laying the vig, go ahead and lay the vig. If you want to take them in regulation time, I think they get it done within 60 minutes, Andrew.
And as far as Columbus as well, they did play a really talented team in their opening game too. So there's no hard, it's not like they're off a disappointing performance, but when you get a Tampa Bay team looking to bounce back versus a Columbus team looking to bounce back, I'll take Tampa every day and twice on Sunday, and they're still an unbelievable team despite losing a couple key guys. So Carmen and I looking towards Tampa Bay, and both of us, especially early in the season, we don't want to lay that price. The minus 115 we're comfortable with. If it goes to overtime, so be it. But the minus 115 is a good price. Carm, I'm pumped to get into our next game. Big win for my Montreal Canadiens in game one against the Toronto Maple Leafs here. This is the home opener for the Red Wings. They're minus 165 favorites. The Canadiens are plus 140. The total is at 6.5, which I expect to be the case in a lot of the games for both these clubs. What are your thoughts here? I'll go to you first in this game.
Man, you're going to hate me for this, and maybe Johnny Detroit will love me for this, but I am taking Detroit. I'm betting Detroit once the show is done. I'm going to head down. It's one of those ones. Listen, the Montreal looked good, but in that, obviously the rivalry game with Toronto is always a one, and Montreal just plays up to their competition. They love beating the Leafs, and even early on in this season, you just wonder about, again, winning a big game that you were a big dog in, and then you suffer a bit of a letdown. And this is obviously a Detroit team. This is their home opener as well, too, first game of the season, and a lot is expected of the Wings. And by a lot being expected, I'm not talking about making it getting into the top 8, but making a concerted effort or a run to the playoffs. This is going to be a team that's battling in that sort of 8th, 9th, and 10th spots, and you want to get off to a good start in the season. We're going to see some teams, and some very good teams start a little slower. It normally happens, and then you're going to see some teams who are conversely who are very bad that get off to a good start. A case in point, the Philadelphia Flyers. They're going to have a miserable season, but last year they had a miserable season and they got off to a good start at the beginning of the season. So don't let what happens in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 games of the NHL season skew what your original thoughts might have been. Adjust your obviously your opinions on teams, but some teams just get off to quicker starts, Andrew. That's just the way it is. With that said, it's the Wings for me, and 165 for the price is pretty much the ceiling of, I usually don't want to go higher than that, sort of, 175, even 180-ish. But when it hits anything higher than that, I just stay off the game or take it in regulation, but it's the Wings for me tonight.
I will say that I think that kind of like how in the MLB with the Dodgers, when they win by 2. I think when the Canadiens lose, they don't usually lose by 1. So I think anybody that, if you like the Red Wings, I turning that 165 into a plus 150 is not a bad deal there. But look, I get what you're saying completely, Carm. I'm just gonna say this. I don't really love the price, for the Red Wings. I think it's overpriced. You look at these two teams and how they size up. The Montreal Canadiens were dead last year. They didn't have much offense. That was the biggest worry for them. And you look at their defensive core right now, it's very young with our Brzak guy, Jordan Harris, Caden Gooley. I follow the team very closely, Carmen. I don't make a lot of bets that actually involve the Canadiens. But one thing that I was impressed with was their offensive group. I'm not really as worried about them as they are about their defensive group, right? They've got several rookies, young players, but I already saw an immediate impact from Kirby Dach. They picked him up at the draft in a trade. Sean Monahan scores a goal right away. Obviously, Cole Caulfield seems like from the preseason to now in the first game, scoring 2 goals. He's taken that next step. His confidence level seems to be huge. Nick Suzuki's now the captain for the team. It seems to me that their offense is going to be okay. The defense is really what I'm worried about. So, guys, I would look towards the over here, over 6.5. I feel like we're going to see a lot of overs in Canadiens games and Red Wings games. You add a player like Andrew Kopp to your lineup, which is absolutely huge. A guy that's a great two-way player, but he's someone that can score nice goals, but also goals in the dirty areas. And then David Perron is a great addition as well for them. And Dominic Kubalik. This is a very young team, with Bertuzzi, even Larkin, all over the place, really. Joe Veleno, Adam Ernie is still pretty young. So across this roster, they've got a pretty young and youthful group. But to Carm's point, you look at Philadelphia yesterday, the Canadiens, who were big dogs in their game. There's all kinds of teams that are actually doing very well in their opening night, home opener game. But for me, I just don't love that price, and I don't think it's justified as much as minus 165. I'm telling you, the offense is going to be a lot better this year for the Canadiens. It's just the defense that I worry about. So I think anybody leaning towards Detroit would like the over. So, Carm, I hate to break it to you, man, but what you were doing with that Leafs ticket, putting it in your mouth, you might be doing that to your Red Wings ticket a little bit later tonight.
I'm going to say this, Andrew, because you're saying the price isn't justified, and I get where you could be coming from with this, but the point is this: this is a Detroit team that more is expected to take that next step this season, and battle, and we'll see how long they battle for. But they are going to be this price in that 160th range every time they play a team like Montreal or Philadelphia. Not the elite of the elite. Let's say the top 6 in each conference. They're not going to be this price. They're either going to be short dogs or short favorites, and the price will only get better on them if they have a good start to the season. So I hate to use the game 1 of the NHL season, Andrew. I hate to use the word there's value in this line, but there actually is, because I think that as the season progresses, that Detroit is going to have, obviously, you're not going to dispute this one, a much better season than the Montreal Canadiens are, of the Flyers, and maybe even teams like Columbus, and we'll see how this eventually shakes out. But I think this is going to be a good season for Detroit. What happens in the first week or 2 of the NHL season is up for grabs. We're going to see some teams start off slowly. The Toronto Maple Leafs are starting off slowly. They did get a win against Washington, but the Caps were full value in that game and probably could have won that game. So with that said, I'm laying the $165. If I have to eat the ticket, I will. I'm fine with that. I haven't had breakfast yet.
I haven't eaten today either, and it's 12:15 where I am, so I actually have to eat something soon. After the show, I'm going to get something. But look, I want to make it clear, when I say that the price isn't justified, I'm happy you said that, because I'm going to probably use phrases all the time on the show that I need to catch myself on. When I say that, it's not me saying that I don't think the odds makers should have made that the price. And obviously I know what I'm talking about, Karim, but for the viewers out there, when I say that, I'm just saying personally, I don't think that they deserve to be that. It's not like I think the odds should be that. It's what I personally think that, it's hard for me, Carm, as a Montreal Canadiens fan, when I'm all over Twitter and all of our viewers and listeners on the podcast, and of course you and our guests know I'm a Canadiens fan. So it's hard for me whenever I step out and say anything good about them. I don't want anyone to think I'm being biased because I don't say that many great things about them every day. But I just think their offensive group is a lot better this year. The only thing I'm worried about is their defensive pairings. So if I'm playing a game in the Montreal Canadiens that are involved in, right now, a lot of the time it's going to be the over. But I'm looking forward to seeing Detroit's team. I really am. We'll see how they play. But I just wanted to say that.
Finish. No, I get it, Andrew. I get it. Listen, I'm not going to harp on you for being a Montreal fan. We're fans of the sport. We're fans of teams. If they do well, we're happy. If they don't, we still continue to watch the sport because we love NHL hockey. It's just the way it is. Yeah. But with that said, I understand. And another point we can look at before we move on to the next game is you look at it and they're priced at 165. You're like, that's too high this early in the season. If the books priced Detroit at 135, what is everyone doing? They're jumping on Detroit in all likelihood tonight. 135 at home. Some might say, oh, that seems like a fishy line. So let's stay away from it. But they price at 165. They make you pay for taking Detroit in their home opener against a Montreal team. And then they probably get just enough action on people saying, well, that's too high. I'm going to take Montreal because there's value at their plus 140, plus 145. Let's take them. So the bookmakers have done exactly what they are supposed to do. Try and balance their action and put a line out there that they're not going to get burnt on.
Absolutely. And that's how it should be for them. That's what they're trying to do ultimately. The Rangers and Jets, look, Carm, a Rangers team that you and I are both super high on for this season. They're plus 115 underdogs for the second straight game. So they've now been underdogs in 2 of their 3 games this season. Winnipeg, they're at home for their home opener, minus 135 favorites total at 6.5 in this one here. And you take a look at this Rangers team, they are off a massive performance against the Minnesota Wild. And Carm, last night I'm looking at that game and I'm thinking to myself, why did I not pull the trigger on this underdog? That was the underdog play of the night. Both Brian and I spoke about it. I spoke about it with other people on social media, and something just felt weird about it, and I've realized I got to trust my gut on these underdogs because the Rangers, albeit they were on the road, they're off a big win against Tampa. The Wild are at home. They played very well at home historically. Getting that price with them was just crazy to me. And now we're getting plus 115, but it's a second half of a back-to-back. You got a goalie situation. You got the fatigue factor. You got the Winnipeg home opener. They were injured quite a bit last year. Winnipeg, they had lots of problems as far as that goes. They're a lot healthier this year. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
It's funny that you see the odds on this game, Andrew. It's like minus 135 for a team playing their home opener. We just talked about that situation with Detroit. The only thing stopping me from wanting to maybe take the Rangers is that it's going to be Halak in goal as opposed to Shesterkin. I always want the best goalie in there. With that said, the Rangers' defensive corps are absolutely great. So you can make a goalie who might not be in the same category as Shesterkin still look very good, which is why I tend to want to lean to the under here. I just think 6.5 is just, I don't get it. I don't get how the total is at 6.5 in this. I don't know. Then maybe it's because I don't know what we're going to get from Winnipeg. It's the one team who during the offseason had absolutely no read on them. I just can't figure them out. They have to stop getting off to slow starts to their season, which puts them behind the 8 ball and doesn't get them into the playoffs. They put together good runs towards the end of the year, but it's never, it's always too late and it's never enough. With that said, if it was a different goalie in there for the Rangers, if it wasn't Halak, then it's Shesterkin. I would be on the Rangers plus 115. You're getting a very good team that very likely is going to win or is going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals at plus money. And it's going to happen throughout the year. It's the home opener, and this is why Winnipeg is getting the bookmakers' money as far as that goes. But 6.5, I just can't see taking an over 6.5 in a Rangers game normally, even though they put 7 up yesterday, which was just as much as what the Bears did, I think, or what have you. But with that said, under 6.5 for me, Andrew.
That's where I'd look as well. I'd look towards the under. I think the Winnipeg structure for their team, they got away from it last year. They have a great goaltender with Hellebuck. They've got a lot of physical players on the back end. And today on our Prop It Up show, Carm, I was talking about NHL defensemen and their player props and how a lot of the time this day and age, NHL defensemen jump into the rush a lot more. They're a lot more offensive. Winnipeg doesn't really have that as much. They are built. And they have, I think the average, if you look at the defensemen for Winnipeg, they're all huge. They're all very well built. They're a team that stays at home. They stay back. They let their forwards do the work. So I don't think they're shy to play in a low-scoring hockey game where you look at some teams and the way that they're made up where you just realize that they're going to play 1st to 4 wins every night. I don't think either of these teams have to play like that to win a hockey game. Obviously, New York's off that big win yesterday, but they didn't really play too bad defensively. They just put a lot of goals in themselves. And you look at a lot of these situations with backup goaltenders, Halak listed as likely right now on some websites I see. A lot of people want to look towards the over immediately. These guys are still NHL goaltenders. Halak has had an unbelievable career. And especially having him as a backup goaltender, many people would consider him one of the top backups in the league. He can really show, great signs of brightness. And the fact that we're getting a 6.5 with a Rangers game when just 2 days ago or 3 days ago we were getting a 5.5 with their game, that's got to tell us something.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I'm not trying to disparage Halak and say he's not a good goalie. I'm just saying that I would prefer the number 1 goalie in. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's a back-to-back, of course, for the Rangers. So people can make the point, tired legs, back-to-back, Winnipeg's home opener. It's going to be electric there, and we're probably going to see some goals. But then I also think that you have a very good defensive corps with this team. Watch them in that Minnesota game. You watch them in that Tampa Bay game. This team can play D. They can. So where the tired legs might hurt them offensively, I don't think it would hurt them defensively. Again, this is why they play the games, and we could see another high-scoring game. But there's no way that I would be on the over 6.5 in this spot. Halak just needs to 10 goal, not let in any softies, and the Rangers will be fine with him in that backup role whenever he comes in that second or half, or giving Shesterkin days off along what is usually a grind of an 82-game season. So I'm staying with this under.
Carm, I mentioned it yesterday on the show. I just want to once again, a huge shout out to everybody that tunes in and watches our show live here in the chat room. Comments afterwards, watches on the Wager Talk TV app. We do appreciate all of you guys. The show is growing big time. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, at PuckTimeWT, we're always posting plays and contests and video content and a lot more. Of course, you can follow Carm and I both on Twitter as well. So, and Saturdays, we're going to have potentially some free play videos posted on the weekend and stuff like that. But check our pages. Might have some free plays posted as far as, just written analysis or video content there. And as for right now, it's a Monday to Friday show, but you guys can see our stuff and you can buy our plays over the weekend. But Carm, before we get into our last game, what do you have going for clients this weekend? Not just in hockey, but across all sports.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend. I am going to spend all of Saturday, Andrew. I booked a booth at Circa, a table of 8. We are going to watch. There are some just some great matchups in college football, some great NHL matchups, and of course soccer. So I have a soccer card up. I have college football. I have NHL's going to be going up soon, NFL cards. So I'm putting out a deal out there since I'm in Vegas. You can use code Vegas30 and you'll get $30 off a 7-day all access. That's normally $99. So you're getting it for $69, so less than $10 a day for all sports. And of course, my Circa plays, I've got to get those ones in since I'm still just a half point out of first right now, so we need to get going on that. So a lot of good stuff, and then there's obviously some plays up for today. A couple plays in NHL and a couple afternoon soccer plays. So that's what we got going, Andrew.
Awesome stuff. For me, I've got some UFC going this weekend. It's not really the most exciting and electrifying card, but I do have several plays in that card going on. I have a 5% MLB play that goes tonight here on Friday night. And, of course, some NFL props and plays. And can't wait for the first Saturday of the NHL season, Carm. I'm really excited about that. It's always fun with some day games. And, of course, the nightcap. And on Saturday, we have the Battle of Alberta, first meeting between Edmonton and Calgary. Can't wait to watch that one. But let's jump into our last game here. We have the San Jose Sharks playing host to the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that has had a lot of success over the last few years. They're trying to get over that hump and make it to the next step and get to the Cup Finals here. They're minus 210. San Jose plus 175. And they've had a lot more time to settle in, I guess, and since they're getting back from Europe. But hey, we saw what happened yesterday with Nashville. Rough start for them, giving up goals to Dallas. And talked about that with Brian, talked about that with Dave Koken. And we look at, this matchup here. You've got Carolina coming to town. Sure, Carolina's traveling a little bit, but they're a team that is so well-rounded, not just offensively but defensively, that now have their goaltender back and fully healthy. Carm, San Jose didn't score more than 2 goals in either of those games over in Europe. And even in their exhibition games, they didn't play very well. And they were at the bottom of the league last year in 5-on-5 goals for. Carolina's not really a team that you want to play in a situation like this. I just think it's going to be really hard for them to kind of skate with them line for line. I like the Carolina team total here. Team total over 3.5 at minus 110. That's kind of my play on this game. I feel like we're going to see Carolina slowly dominate, get lots of production throughout their lineup, and just don't think San Jose will be able to skate with them. Of course, it is their home opener. They will be looking to cut out for a good start for their crowd, but I'm just not so sure that Carolina's the team that they can do it against. What are your thoughts here in this matchup?
Yeah, you made a good point because, I watched that Dallas game against Nashville, and Nashville, listen, despite putting up 31 shots on goal, I think, in that game, they looked flat. Their power play looked flat. I think they went 0 for 5 on the power play, and they weren't a lot of quality shots that you saw from them. It is, listen, that travel from Europe back to the U.S. is a long one. So even with the extra day off, Nashville didn't have it, but with the extra day off, it wears on these guys. It could actually take them 2 or 3 games before these guys are back to where they were before. Fatigue is an actual thing, and these guys are professionals. I get it, Andrew. They're constant. These guys are in the gym, they're on the ice, but you saw it in that game yesterday if you watched Nashville. And I think we're going to see the same out of San Jose tonight. I think they're going to struggle tonight. I think Carolina gets it done in regulation time. So I'm going to forego laying 210 on this game, and you can get them at minus 120 to win in regulation time. I think they go at them early, they get that lead, and Carolina is just such a good team that they're just relentless. So with that said, I'll keep it simple. It's going to be the Canes in regulation time for me.
It's a tough matchup for San Jose to play in their home opener. That's for sure. It's a tough team for them to open their season at home against, and a team that plays very well defensively and has lots of great players out there on offense. And I think Vincent Trocheck is a big pickup for that team, and we're going to see that happen as the season moves on. Maybe he's not lighting the lamp offensively every night, but what he does on both ends of the rink is really important for that club. But over to you, Carm, for your best bet here today on Puck Time, and we'll put a wrap up on the show here, and be back on Monday for a full week next week of Puck Time.
Yes, I will be back in my regular desk and studio for the shows next week, traveling back on Sunday. But first, a quick thanks to everyone who tunes in, not only during the live chat. We have a lot of guys sharing information there. We really appreciate you guys always tuning in. You guys are awesome. And then in the comments when it gets uploaded later on. So we have such a great Puck Time community here, and I love the fact that you guys share that information. As far as the show best bet, Andrew, I'm going to the game we just discussed. I'm taking the Canes in regulation time. I think they get this done. I think 120 is a fair price to get it done within 60 minutes. And I think we see a bit of a hangover from the Sharks in their opening game. It may take them a few games to get their legs, but I'm not entirely sure. Even if they were 100%, I wouldn't take the exact same bet. So with that said, it's Carolina Hurricanes minus 120 in 60 minutes.
All right, Carm, looking at Carolina in 60 minutes, minus 120 in regulation. Get a great price on that compared to the minus 200 there on the money line. I'm going to keep it in the same game for my best bet. I just spoke about it with the team total over 3.5 goals for the Carolina Hurricanes. Look, San Jose's defensive core didn't get any better. Probably got worse in the offseason, losing Brent Burns. And this team, just overall, I think that they're not really good at their zone exits. They don't take care of the puck in their own end. Taking on a Carolina team that is extremely deep, I like Carolina to put goals in and put them in early and often in this one here, over 3.5 at minus 110. Asking this great team to get us 4 goals, sign me up for that play. So both of us looking for a good game out of the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. That will do it for Puck Time for this Friday. Carm, great to see you, man. Safe travels back. Have fun this weekend. Enjoy. Cash some tickets. And for all of us here at Wager Talk, we'll see you guys next week.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.